All right, good morning and happy Wednesday, everyone. It was the day before the 4th of July, and we got a half day today, so, set the expectations properly. We could get a wild move, or it could be the most boring session you have ever seen. We're about to find out, but we got a couple open trades here. Let me go grab Camtasia. But we've got open trades in TSM and the Microsoft. All right, come on, Camtasia. All right, there we go. All right. So for TSM here, we had the white dot squeeze on the hourly yesterday, and we jumped in and bought some 175 calls for next week. Now, if it were a normal week, we got a full day today, a full day tomorrow and Friday, you could take that 1 hour squeeze. You could buy this week's expiration. Being that we've got a shorter week, we went out to next Friday. From here, I'm looking for a breakout above 177-ish, and then a push towards 178 to 180-ish. And that should be good enough for a paycheck. And then for Microsoft here, we got a put credit spread. And we initially got long here with the white dot on the 4 hour squeeze. A plus squeeze here on the 4 hour. Got a decent little push going. And then for today's session, we've got a white dot squeeze here on the 2 hour. We need a little bump higher, another 50 cents to a buck, and we should get filled on the working exit order. So we got the Microsoft, we got the TSM, and then a couple setups for you. One that I like here would be Meta. If we go check out Meta, brand new squeeze and a brand new white dot here on the daily. With that being said, it's a little bit early. I'll take a trade on 1 dot of a squeeze is a good rule of thumb. If we can get 3, 4, maybe 5 days of compression, so 3, 4, 5 dots of the squeeze, then you've got a little more energy built up. But regardless, I like it. Good trend, good structure, the buy signal, all the fixings for a push. Now, a little bit bigger picture, if they can fire the daily squeeze here, we've also got this weekly squeeze setting up. We don't have the white dot yet. I think as early as next week, we might get the white dot. Right now, we have good trend, we have good structure. We've got compression from the squeeze. The only thing we're missing is momentum. If they can take momentum and pull that through zero, this will then be an A plus squeeze. And if we got the white dot here on the weekly, that would eventually call for a move towards 550 to 570-ish, which I would love to catch. So I'm going to keep an eye here on Meta. And then another one here is Amazon. Now, mind you, $200. It's a pretty big level. All right, big round number, big psychological level. I'm not too sure if they can break it out through 200 this week. But I would have to think the next week or the next few weeks here, there should be a pretty good chance. We had some Amazon going back to last week. Caught a pretty good push. What I like here, though, the weekly squeeze still hasn't fired. All the energy still getting built up. They've yet to release it. At any point, that weekly squeeze fires to the upside. I think Amazon sees 205 to 210. The bigger question for this week, will 200 be a bit more of a resistance level? But eventually, I think they break it through there. And then even better, it's not just a weekly squeeze. We've also got the white dot here on the 3-day squeeze. So 2 bigger time frames in an uptrend, a lot of built up energy, good structure, good momentum. From that, you can get a really big move. The 3-day squeeze fires, that can trigger a nice move. If the 3-day squeeze goes, pretty good chance the weekly squeeze goes. And that can give you a good one. So again, it's a little tricky on a short week and a little tricky right here at 200. I think any sort of pullback, any lower time frame squeeze, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, a little something like that could make for a good entry here. And then moving on to Microsoft, which I believe we already covered. But let me go back to Microsoft. We're taking that 4-hour squeeze. We're trying to catch a shorter term push. If you go look at the weekly chart here, they just fired a weekly squeeze this week, which would imply in a good market, there could be a lot more upside here. Potentially a move towards 470 and change. Little gas in the tank there off that weekly squeeze. And then moving on to Netflix. And I still think in a good market, Netflix can see 700. What I mean by a good market is if on Friday, the S&Ps and the QQQ just totally fall apart, that makes it a little tough for anything to trend higher. In a good market, I think you get a push eventually towards that 700. I like the pattern here. We had the daily squeeze back here. You got the push. Now we get the back test of that 21 EMA. And the thing holds up perfectly. All right, buy signal. We got the perfect score at 12. It's a nice spot right above that 21 EMA to look for another move higher. What I think might trigger that push, it's not an A+ squeeze just yet, but I am going to watch this 4-hour. 4-hour squeeze, good trend, good structure. If they can pull momentum back to and through 0, then I would think the 4-hour squeeze fires, and that should take you towards that 700. I like the potential. I wouldn't be in a big rush to buy it until I get that momentum cross. We could drop down to the 2-hour squeeze, and that one might give you the white dot a little bit earlier. So you could anchor to the 2-hour squeeze, and from that, you might find a nice early entry. But at some point, I think you might see Netflix up towards that 700. And then we have got Nvidia. My thinking here with Nvidia, I don't want to short it. I'd much rather go play in traffic, but I'm not going to be in a big rush to buy this. The easy answer is I don't have any A+ signals. Right? Not on a bigger time frame and not on a smaller time frame. What I do have, which could be interesting, maybe a week or 2 weeks down the road, a brand spanking new daily squeeze. Brand new daily squeeze. And then even better, we've kind of got it right where we want it. Brand new squeeze right on top of that 21 EMA. So we've got compression, and we've got that on top of the launching pad. That's half the equation. Then I need a trigger for a move higher. With a 2-hour, 1 hour, 30-minute sell signal, I've got no trigger to buy it just yet. What I do see here is more signs of exhaustion. If you look at the 3-day squeeze, that pretty much got the whole move going. 3-day squeeze, momentum cross, white dot, off goes Nvidia. And now momentum here on the 3-day time frame, little bit of a turn lower. Still above 0, but a little turn lower. That's not a signal to go short Nvidia, but it is a good sign of exhaustion. You had a squeeze. She gave you a great move. She might be a little bit tuckered out here. On our daily time frame, no more buy signal and momentum breaks bearish. I'm not going to short it based on that, but again, a sign of exhaustion. And then also here on the 4-hour. For the first time since April, momentum on the 4-hour chart crosses bearish. Not going to short it, but I'm not going to be in a big rush to buy it. The dream would be next week, maybe the following week. We've got this daily squeeze developing. We've got price right near that 21 EMA. And then we're getting a 30-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour buy signal. Something to trigger a move higher from the inside out, right on top of that 21. If we could get that, I think it makes for a great entry. For now, I shall be patient. And then Google here. I think a good candidate for continuation. They just fired that 2-day squeeze. In a good market, that 2-day squeeze could and should take Google towards 188, 190. From there, you want to go find a spot to buy it. One spot could be something like this 2-hour squeeze. If we can get the white dot on the 2-hour, if we can get a white dot on a 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute squeeze, with the wind at your back from that 2-day squeeze, the lower time frame entry, that can be a nice spot to jump in and plant your seed. So I'd look for continuation higher from the Google. And then the last one I got for you would be Goldman Sachs. If we take a quick peek here at the ranking system, this is as of last night. For the indexes, we have the S&Ps and the QQQ, 58 out of 60 on the total score. So very strong. Dow Jones in third place with a 49. Not as strong as S&Ps and QQQ, but respectable. Small caps got 13, and the RSP has a negative 11. If we go check the sectors, we've got XLY with a perfect 60. In a big part of XLY, Tesla and Amazon. Tesla going crazy this week. Does a lot of good for XLY. And then in second place, we have XLK, the big tech with a 56, and then the financials, XLF. They quickly move here into third place, which I think is pretty interesting. If we go look at XLF, got a few squeezes here. A weekly, a 3-day, a 2-day, a daily, and a 4-hour. The one I'll show you this morning would be the 4-hour squeeze. If that can fire to the upside, you've got a 2 to 5 day window where the Goldman Sachs, the Bank of Americas, the Morgan Stanleys, JP Morgans, the bank stocks, they should do pretty good if the XLF can fire that 4-hour squeeze. With that being said, if we jump over to GS, this also has a pretty solid 4-hour squeeze. White dot on the 4-hour. And then the daily squeeze here is almost A+. Good trend, good structure. Waiting on that momentum cross. It's a little bit similar to back here. You've got Goldman hanging out near the 21 EMA. They begin to print a squeeze. You finally get that big directional move when momentum crosses back above zero. You got some gas in the tank. You give that squeeze a little bit of oomph, and off she goes. So I think pretty similar here. Hanging out near that 21. Big squeeze. They get that momentum cross. I think you play for a breakout here. So I like Goldman. I like Amazon. I like the Google. Not going to be in a big rush to buy Nvidia. I'm going to watch that 4-hour squeeze on Netflix. And then I am long TSM, long Microsoft. And I also want to buy some Meta. Maybe not today, but I would like to buy me some Meta. And then last thing here, let's go look at the futures. The S&P's down a little bit. NQ down a wee bit as well. Check the rut, and the rut is green. An explosive $5. And then the YM. The YM is flat. Now for Dow Jones here, we do have the A plus squeeze here on the daily for the Dow. You could trade that. You could also use that as a source of context. If the Dow Jones can fire that daily squeeze, that could kick off a move towards 400 bucks. If the Dow goes to 400 bucks, things like the financials, things like healthcare, other parts of the market outside of big tech and big semis, they might get a little love. But all right, y'all, that is what I got for you on this fine Wednesday morning. Any questions, anything you want to take a look at, drop it in the chat, and I've got you covered. And for those of you in my mastery, make sure you've got the exit orders working on TSM and Microsoft. I've got to take off at the open for a quick errand, but I shall be back. Let's see, TSM 177.50. We got a little push. Denny, I'm looking for about a 30% profit on TSM because the trade's based on the 1 hour squeeze. It's a great question, by the way. If I'm only trading the 1 hour squeeze, that can be good for a move towards my 1 hour squeeze target. That's about 178.80-ish. And that should be good for about a 30 to 40% profit. So it's a matter of taking that one time frame and then trying to take what it could offer. I'm not looking for a big multi-day push. I'm not looking for a big multi-week push. Looking for a bit more of a quick hit and run. Find the 1 hour squeeze, take the entry, see if the squeeze can fire, play for a push towards my target, take the paycheck, and then move on to the next one. Great question. Kaching. What's up, Kaching? Can I take a look at Intel? Yes. Indeed, we can. All right, Intel. 4 hour. You got a few squeezes here. 2-day, daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30. And that is that. So let me go see the daily squeeze. All right, so this is a very tricky one. Very tricky one. Let me see. Actually, not as tricky as I thought. Here's what I'm seeing on Intel. If we take the 30-minute squeeze, for example, it's a great setup. Perfect score at 12. We got the white dot. It's got everything I'm looking for. But I don't want to fall in love with that one time frame. I want to check the bigger picture. It's got a great looking 30-minute squeeze. And then I go check my daily chart. And that one's a little rough around the edges. Score of 12 on the 30-minute. And then a score of -5 on the daily. That's a very different situation than finding that A plus 30-minute squeeze in a name like Netflix. The daily chart for Netflix is perfect. Momentum, structure, trend, buy signal. You've got the perfect score, and you've got it in a nice, nice uptrend. Where Intel, again, you've got a good-looking 30-minute squeeze. The question would be, am I taking that 30-minute squeeze in a daily chart that supports a move higher? The answer on this one would be no. Good 30-minute. The daily chart leaves a lot to be desired. No buy signal, score of -5, no stacked EMAs. We've got the 21 under the falling 50. And now we're coming up right on that falling 50. So here's what I would do. I would avoid buying it below that daily 50. 31.15-ish. If they can get it and keep it above that falling 50, yeah, then you can take the 30-minute 1 hour squeeze, try to play for a push higher. Above that 50. If I'm doing it below the 50, I might be buying calls directly under a bigger level of resistance. So I'd mark up your falling 50. Nathan, you bought some AMAT off of the 1 hour yesterday. What would make me not buy it? All right, AMAT. Nothing at all. I like it. I like it a lot. We had a daily squeeze back here. Squeeze fired. Now we get the first pullback to the 21 EMA. And they do a pretty good job here keeping the ship afloat. Never closes below the 21. We've got the buy signal. We've got a few buy signals. Weekly, daily, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15, and the 5. And then right above that launching pad, the old launcher, a beautiful 1 hour squeeze. Yeah, I like everything about that trade. Doesn't mean the trade works, of course, but I like it. Again, compare this to Intel. You're taking that 1 hour squeeze, while the bigger time frames, the weekly and the daily, they confirm the bullish nature of it. You're taking the 1 hour squeeze, while the path of least resistance for the daily chart is also to the upside. Meaning you've got a lot of wind at your back, which is very beneficial. So I like that trade. The gold futures, just so you know, you might be talking to the worst gold trader ever. If you saw my track record on gold, you would not be impressed. Let's see. The gold futures. My old arch nemesis. I like the 15-minute squeeze. I've got to like the 15-minute squeeze. If I do a quality control check on the daily, I'd be thinking more day trade. I'd be thinking more day trade than swing trade. I like the 15-minute squeeze, but if I take my daily chart here, it could be a lot better. Momentum back above 0. 21 EMA back above the 50 SMA. Stacked EMAs, a buy signal. It's a lot more of a neutral daily chart. And until that neutral daily chart either flips bullish or flips bearish, you can kind of be confined to a big box. Right? They'll pop it higher, they'll dump it lower, and they'll keep on playing ping pong here until the daily chart actually sets up for a bigger move. So when things are neutral on a bigger time frame, then I'm thinking a bit more. I want to find a 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. I want to plant my seed. I want to catch my push. Then I want to take that cash and move on to the next one. Where if the daily chart looked like Meta, all right, now maybe I take that 15-minute squeeze, and from that I look for a much bigger move with the wind at my back from my bigger time frames. Yeah, Brian, I've never had luck with gold. And if you have, don't let me steer you away. But I've never had luck with gold. I've never had much luck with silver. And then even energy can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Yeah, Johnny, I'm with you on Nvidia. We're getting a few pieces of the puzzle. Brand new daily squeeze. Right on top of the 21 EMA. From there, I need something to tell me to buy it. I need some sort of trigger. Right? That could be a 30-minute buy signal. That could be a 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour buy signal. You just got to get something from the inside out that finally says, yeah, Nvidia wants to go higher. With a 2 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute sell signal, not quite feeling the love here just yet. But I do think in due time. Miss Claudia, good morning. LRCX. Yeah, Claudia, you're kicking some butt this week as always. All right, LRCX. We've got the white dot on the weekly squeeze, which would point towards 1150. And then we got the white dot here on the 30-minute. Yeah, Claudia, I like it. That should move with TSM. They should go moving together. I like them both. I like them both. Bull bear buddy, yes, everything you see on the charts, the watch list columns, the labels, the buy and sell signals, the squeeze, the other labels, that's all part of the class we kicked off on Saturday. So the only thing you'd have to grab would be the class. If you grab the class, you get all the indicators, all the bells and whistles. All right, let me jump over here to YouTube, and we'll hang out here for a few more minutos. All right, folks, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Thomas. Yeah, thanks, Thomas. I appreciate it. Oh, it's Art. What's up, Art? How are you, my friend? Yeah, it's a small upgrade, the white dot, but I love it. It gives me just that one thing to focus on. I could look at all the labels, I could look at trend, I could look at structure, or I could keep it as simple as, do I have a white dot? What I also like about the white dot, I can go back and study previous examples of really good squeezes. For example, the daily squeeze back here on T-Mobile. We had the white dot. We got a huge move. All right, now I can go back and study that move. What was my 4-hour chart doing? What did my signals look like on the 2-hour and the 1-hour? We can go back and study them and strengthen that pattern recognition, which I think is very important. So I am with you. I like the white dots. All right, good morning, Roy. What about TXN? 2-day, a daily, and a 4-hour squeeze. 4-hour squeeze here is a little more neutral. Let me show you Amazon. If I'm trying to call for a push higher, again, with the indicator, it's kind of as simple as, do I have the white dot? But if you don't have the indicator, a few things you want to check. Basic structure. Is my 21 EMA above the 50? And is my 50 SMA above the 200 SMA? 21 above the 50, 50 above the 200, right? Basic structure. Now think basic trend. Is my 21 EMA pointing higher? Is my 50 SMA pointing higher? Is my 200 SMA pointing higher? When we find a squeeze with that kind of structure and trend, never a guarantee, but a good probability, that squeeze might want to fire to the upside. 21 above the 50, 50 above the 200, and then all three of those moving averages, they're pointing towards the skies. With that in mind, TXN here on the 4-hour, 21 EMA below the 50, and a little bit more of a downward trend for the 50 SMA. Does that mean the 4-hour squeeze can't fire to the upside? Of course not. But if we're thinking in terms of probabilities, and we always should be, that could be a little better. If we jump to the daily, now the daily squeeze here I like. We don't have the white dot yet, but if they can pull momentum back above zero, we will get the white dot. That blue arrow, that's called the slingshot. And what the slingshot means is we've almost got the entire checklist. We've got compression from the squeeze. We have good trend. We have good structure. The final missing piece is good momentum. What the blue arrow says is, hey, pay attention. Even though momentum is still below zero, it might have bottomed, and they're trying to pull that back to zero. Think Google last week on the 4-hour. It's a really good heads up. Got this big 4-hour squeeze, and we're getting the blue arrow, we're getting the blue arrow, we're getting the blue arrow. Then momentum crosses positive. Then the 4-hour squeeze goes ahead and gets the job done. Good morning, Tony. GoDaddy.com. This one's pretty interesting. There was a 4-hour squeeze, and that just fired. And then another example here of the slingshot. Now, best case scenario, you find a squeeze at the 21 EMA, and you've just got the white dot. Those are the best trades. You've got compression, you've got momentum, trend, structure, everything on the checklist, and you've got it right at the buy zone. If we don't have that, this is the second best option. Right? Very much like back here. Squeeze printing. Blue arrow says wait for momentum to cross. It crosses, and the squeeze fires. So here we are again. Big squeeze, good trend, good structure, and we've got the slingshot. If they can pull that back through zero, very good chance the squeeze fires to the upside, and you're playing for a move towards 147. But what I don't do is make the assumption we'll get that momentum cross and then jump in there and buy it anyways. That can end up like crowd from back here. They're trying to get momentum. They never actually get it. And then the thing rolls over and the squeeze fires short. So it's not a signal I take action on, but it's a really good heads up. The bus might be coming. All right, good morning, Robert, P-A-N-W. The Palo. Yeah, Palo's been doing nice lately. And then we got a brand new, newborn white dot on the weekly squeeze. Not that history has to repeat itself, but the last time we had the white dot here, that all worked out pretty good for that weekly squeeze. She got potential. All right, and then a few more here, folks. BPMC. That sounds like a high school. BPMC. All right, so the weekly squeeze just fired. And we only had one dot, so not a long squeeze. Now, yeah, here's a good example where the slingshot turns into the white dot squeeze. Been waiting on momentum, and then yesterday, not a huge cross, but technically you do get the positive cross here. From there, if they can keep momentum above zero, you would play for a push towards 118, 119. You've got the white dot on the 4-hour squeeze. Oh, yeah, I like it. You got the white dot on the 1 hour, and you got it on the 30-minute. Doesn't mean it works, but that's pretty solid. 30-minute, 1 hour, 4-hour, A+ squeeze with a daily squeeze that just got momentum. All right. You've got a Lamborghini here, and you just got a full tank of gas. If they want to, they can get to moving. Very solid. Okay, Russ, great question. So we take the example of the 4-hour squeeze for Microsoft. We lost our white dot because the squeeze fired, and that's what we're aiming for. We want to find the white dot. We want to find the stock when it's going through that compression phase, right, building up all the energy, and then when we finally release the energy and the squeeze fires, then we're on our way towards a profit. So when the squeeze fires and the blue dot goes green, from there I'm looking for a push towards my target. My target on Microsoft would be 463 and change. And I don't have to be a pig. If I'm looking for 463 and I get 462.50, that is close enough. But if I lose a white dot because the squeeze fired, then I hang on tight for a push towards my target. If it's a case like Procter & Gamble, where I lose a white dot, not because the squeeze fired, but because it's no longer a valid setup, meaning something changed, then I cut the trade. We had the white dot on PG back here. We lost our white dot on that candle. No longer an A+ setup. Something changed. Then I cut that trade. Best case scenario, I lose a white dot because the squeeze just fired in my favor. That is the best case scenario. Yeah, Danny, I will get back to all the emails at the very latest by this Sunday. I promise you that. And yeah, Dion, the scan should get posted on the indicator page and the class page today. What I'll do is if I get confirmation of that, I'll put an alert in the mastery room, and I'll also put an alert in the classroom. So I shall keep you posted. All right, let me check the clock. All right, y'all, I got to run here. Maybe one more question. My brother's keeper, you only have one loss since you started using the Big 3 indicator. Hey, that's awesome. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. And don't forget, you're gonna have losses, right? If I could wave the magic wand and guarantee you an 80% win rate for the remainder of your career, everybody would say, hell yeah, sign me right up. I'll take a guaranteed 80% win rate. But think about that, what that would imply. Every 1,000 trades I take, I'm going to lose on 200. The power of the indicator, the power of the system, we're pulling the trigger on very high probability moments in time. By default, a lot more should work than the ones that don't. With that being said, though, the most important thing you can do when you lose your signals, when you've no longer got that white dot, something has changed, just ask yourself one question. If I didn't already have the position, if I was running the scans looking for a brand new trade, based on the current signals, would I buy it all over again right here, right now? If the answer is no, you have to cut that trade. Look at the pullback I avoided in PG. I cut it on that candle instead of sitting through a bigger pullback. And same thing back here for Merck. So you can work a really good win rate. The success comes down to, how do I manage the ones that don't work? The ones that misbehave, we got to be pretty ruthless. But all right, y'all, I've got to hit the road here and get a quick haircut. I got to look proper for the 4th of July. But yeah, as always, thank you for all the time and effort. Much, much appreciated. Have a great 4th of July. Please be safe. Be careful with those fireworks. Point them in the right direction. And then we are back to it on Friday. So enjoy the break. Spend some time with your family. If you got a dog, take that dog for a walk.